All right, everybody, time for another Lightning Strikes Twice. And this is the one where we each have one topic and we spend 5 minutes on it. The one bringing it up knows what it is, of course, and the other one does not know what it is because they're not the one bringing it up. Does that clear things up? So I think you're starting today, Eric.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry, I'm getting over a cold, so forgive the
A little,
stuffiness.
a little cold.
Yeah, yeah, a little cold. Yeah. Um so yeah, mine's I guess public health and safety ish, that kind of category.
This is
Uh
going to be about catching colds, isn't
no, no. I guess mine begins with brother, can you spare a dime? Is it helpful or harmful to give handouts to homeless people?
well, uh, oh gosh. That's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So here in Germany, I would say yes, because they are their option. Like it's an option to be homeless.
Yeah.
Like if you are homeless, all you have to do is go into this one building and boom, you've got like a cheap ass apartment, So
Yeah.
like it's not really an issue of like just being down on your luck. It's probably more like yeah, you're into drugs or something, and
Yeah,
or,
voluntary
or
homeless in some
or not
form.
capable of caring for yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, even in that, you kind of bifurcate it because if they're not able to care for themselves, well, it wouldn't hurt to give them money.
Hmm.
But if they're just going to blow it on drugs, like, I mean, it's no skin off your ass either way, technically, if you can
Yeah,
spare the change. But
sure, but I mean, like the impact. Like, are you enabling somebody by, like, are you just making it worse, essentially?
hmm,
Um, yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. Like you said, it's complicated, and it
yeah,
does kind of depend. But like, I do occasionally give people some money, um, but it's just like I feel like, especially in this area, a lot of homeless people are there because of drug addiction, and
yeah,
I don't think that money will necessarily go toward extracting them out of their situation. It's just going to feed the beast, basically.
yeah. I would always try to. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't really work with panhandlers because you have to kind of give it some pre-thought. But I would always try to bring things that are useful,
Yeah.
socks or leftover food or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
a jacket I don't want anymore or something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not always like met with a lot of gratitude, and then you're kind of like, well,
Thanks for
I
nothing.
probably chose correctly not to give money
Yeah.
in this situation. Like,
Exactly.
um, but yeah, I mean, there's also like heartwarming stories of somebody who, uh, you know, kindly gave a $5 bill to them, and they used that to kickstart a chain of events that led to, um, basically a butterfly effect thing
Mm-hmm.
where like that one act of kindness you can trace back to,
Yeah.
like how did I
So
get where I am now? Oh, this
somebody's
$5.
yeah, somebody's life being improved by the generosity of another.
Hmm.
And I would say, if you have the extra money to give to people just randomly on the street, it's probably better to give that money to an organization who does more than just simply hand things out to people, but has a better, a more comprehensive tactical process, I guess.
Yeah.
Even a
Or
church, even
or
giving
if
to a
you
church.
have time, like be like, hey, do you want to go grab a burger and then like
Mhm.
sit down and have a conversation with them while you eat burgers?
Yeah. Well, and
Like that. That's cool too. Like you're warm, you have some company,
mhm.
and you got some food.
Well, and
I'm sure that would be very appreciated.
Oh, I've been following like this particular YouTube series that talks about hobo life from like the olden days, 1800s up into the 30s and stuff. And that was a totally different culture than what we have today.
Right.
Um, Hobos didn't just sit there and ask for money and do nothing. They traveled and did work, and they kept their appearances up. They learned skills and they applied those skills across the country. And it's like, hey, you know, that to me is valuable. And they typically even had a family back home or something, and they would send money back. And but there was this whole massive culture around that. It's almost like a survival encampment kind of
Van
system.
living before vans.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah, I mean that I'd like to see more of that, but I think
Mhm.
it's really hard when people have mental health issues, in particular if they have addiction problems. That's really hard to get out of, and that's where it's like I don't know that one person could do that. It's better to give your resources towards an organization that's what they do, right? So it has
Right.
more of an impact than just simply giving somebody a burger or something like that.
Right.
Um, so that's time. That's a
Gladly pay tomorrow for a burger today.
yeah. Sorry.
Um,
Okay.
so I, I I had a thought that, we get so many great ideas out in this show that, maybe it would be a good idea to think about some mysteries and what might solve them. And so I guess this might be sort of in the conspiracy realm because aliens. But who built the pyramids?
Oh, oh man. Well, there are many who say it was the Egyptians at the time, that the specified time, a couple thousand years ago. And then there's others who say they're much, much older than that. And in fact, the Egyptians discovered the pyramids.
Hmm.
They didn't build them. And I think it's actually, I guess, from what I understand, it's kind of difficult to exactly place the exact time. Um,
I think the Incas discovered their pyramids that were like so old they were already in ruins,
yeah,
and they discovered them.
yeah.
The Egyptians, though, I think they're pretty certain that they're even certain that it was like paid labor and not slavery.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Of
Um,
course, yeah. It was, yeah.
so,
It
like,
was
if
like a
there's some kind
career.
of record of payment for making them, I would say that that sounds pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
But then the question is like, how? How did they make them? Because like that's a quite impressive feat of engineering
Well,
for the time.
even using modern stuff,
Yeah,
like technology of today, it would be exceedingly difficult to build a pyramid like that. So it's
right.
like, yeah, they barely had. Well, and maybe this speaks to my kind of idea that maybe things were much more advanced than we thought they were. That people knew a hell of a lot
Mm.
more back in the past than we believe. Um, and maybe they did have technology of some sort, or techniques or knowledge about how to do things that has been lost to time, essentially.
Well, sometimes like if you don't know what you can't do,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't stop you from trying, and you might discover something like along the sidelines of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
rather than saying, oh, they must have broken the laws of physics, well, maybe they just negotiated with the laws of physics or
Well,
something.
you're right, and actually, if say the pharaoh decrees, "Oh, I want this pyramid built," and starts paying the brightest minds in Egypt to come
Mm,
together, and the best, most hulky lifters and rock quarriers and stuff, like they could probably accomplish something, and maybe they figured out a way to do things that nobody kept a record of because it wasn't necessary.
yeah,
It was just word of mouth. Like maybe there was a group of people who kept that knowledge alive, and tradesmen basically, and they never thought to write it down because I mean, well, what would you write down? You'd write down the stuff the pharaoh did, and that kind of thing, like the big stuff, the god level stuff.
right.
Who cares about
Well,
the mundanity of engineering?
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some like, I mean, obviously, like you can reduce the effective weight of something using physics with pulleys and whatnot.
Yeah.
So with that and enough people, maybe something like that was possible, especially if you fulcrum with like another piece of limestone,
Hmm.
just kind of make the job easier in that way. But also, like, wouldn't it make more sense to say that they kind of just built from the top down? Like dug away some sand, built the top of it with some scaffolding and temporary supports as they dug further, and then just kind of did that more and more and more.
That could be, except there's structures, interior structures like channel hallways and
Mm-hmm.
chambers and things that would be really difficult to do if you're starting from the top. And because of course you have to put a big heavy stone under another big heavy stone. But maybe it's who knows, because it's like it's been so long. Any
Mm.
evidence of how it was constructed is completely gone now, other than maybe little clues here and there. But yeah, nobody knows. And then once all that ended, that the it just got lost. Like nobody was building pyramids anymore, so nobody needed to remember how to build them. So just forgot about it.
Hmm.
It's Damascus steel. That's another one, or the Greek fire and things like that.
It's too bad the Mythbusters didn't like attempt to build a pyramid or
I
something.
know.
Like
Well,
after the show ended, they should have just done movies where they spend a really long time on a project and then just do a movie on it.
well, some people have just attempting to recreate it, like somehow. They've also there's a project building a castle using only medieval technology,
Hmm.
which they did. They built this group built a castle.
Yeah.
They
I
made a whole
mean, then
TV
that's
series out of it.
similar. I mean,
Yeah.
not as big, but
Well, that's time. That's a
damn.
That's a super fascinating topic, though. Like, I feel like that's
Yeah.
huge. That there's so many, and there's a lot of related things that are connected to that. Not specifically
Hmm.
just pyramids, but other structures like Stonehenge and things like that.
Yeah. Do you know if the stones are like glued together in some fashion?
Mm-mm. No,
No,
they're just
not
stacked.
like modern masonry. Okay. Hmm.
No, they rely on the sheer mass of the stones to keep them in place.
Hmm.
And I
Okay.
guess they were quarried from quite a ways away too, which is sort of another baffling mystery of like how the hell did they get these giant stones that far? It's just nuts. Like,
Lots of horses.
yeah. Well, like I said, maybe they did have technologies that were lost to time. Um,
Hmm.
if you don't need to build pyramids anymore, you just like, okay, well, all this stuff that we've designed, it's well, let it rot. Who cares? And don't carry on the knowledge because nobody's using it anymore.
Hmm. Well,
All
those
right.
were a couple of good ones there.
Oh yeah.
So if you enjoy the lightning strikes twice, there's one every week. So come back next week and there's sure to be a brand new one.
I think you'll like it.